This is my left door, and my first set of chisels. I shouldn't say my first set. What I thought was my first good set of chisels that I bought. These are marples. Then the next set was this one, which was a mortising set of chisels. I think these are also by marples. Yes, they are. And then these file tools, or file chisels, Swiss made. And then my Hultafors up here, along with a couple of Bacos that are basically junk right now, but I use them for glue removal. They still work for that, but they're getting so short that there's not too much life in them really, but I'm not going to toss them. So these chisels, you know, I was thinking of trying to figure out a way to hang them like I've done with these, but they just don't, it doesn't work. Just the way they're constructed. So I rethought what I was doing, and I decided to stand them up. And by doing that, what I did here was create this board here, which has got actually, it's a step tool. It's hard to tell, but it's 1.25 inches and then 30 millimeter. And it works out pretty well. And then on top of that, to keep them spaced, I just did a registration board with grooves cut in it to match the width of the chisels. And into this I'll inset some magnets, because you don't want to open the door and have these things come flying out at you like missiles. I think that'll be adequate enough to hold them in there. This is my old setup here. And I'm just going to take and remove, try and salvage these magnets out of here. I have plenty of magnets, but I don't want to toss these if I don't have to, so I'm going to try and basically bust these out and then reuse them in these 6 spaces here. So that's all right. That was pretty easy to salvage those. I just knocked off these wedges that I had made, split them, and the magnets basically dropped out. So this was the size magnet that was in there, 1/4 inch, I believe that is. Or is that 3/8? Let me see here. 3/8. But I don't think that's going to be. It would probably work if it sat on the surface this way. But what I intend to do is, because these are 1/2 inch, but you'd have to epoxy them into the hole if you were putting them in this way. I'm going to put them on the back side and drill just short of this surface here, and that magnet should be strong enough to pull it, pull the chisel and hold it tight. And I got the magnets all in place. They're just laying in there. There's no adhesive or anything. So I've got to kind of flip this over and trap them, and then slide it up under my chisels. Alright, I got that where I like it, so I'm going to screw this one end in. Actually, it's got to be right there. Alright, I think that'll work pretty well. I can feel that magnet pulling that in. So I'm happy with that. That'll work out good, I think. Now my next plan for this door is I've got plenty of room here yet. I'm going to make a door inside of the door. And I'll be able to, it gives me enough room to put squares. You can see how much room I've got there, probably a 1/4 of an inch yet. So that gives me room to put some kind of flat tools on here. And but I just have to figure out which way I want to hinge it. And for that I'm going to put this back in place. I'm going to leave this space up here. I'm going to leave this open for now. That's good. It really looks nice. And these things are not coming out. They're snapping into place, and they're good and solid with those magnets behind them. So I'm liking that a lot, and it works and operates as before. You know, I've checked down here to see there's no sagging or anything going on. Over time that could happen, and you know, maybe I've got to replace and put in some better hinges, I suppose. But these are holding up well. They're steel. They look like they're brass, but they're steel, and I'm happy with that. That turned out really good. So as I've looked at it and operated, and this inner door, what I'm thinking is it's got to be hinged on this side to keep this from getting too much weight out here if everything was open. So if it opens this way, then all the load is on the hinge side, and it's not pulling the door away. So I'm glad I put this up here. So I'll build a door, a piece of material that'll go inside here, and then hinge it toward to the right. So I'll put 3 hinges on that as well. That'll double my storage area there. I've made my first cut on this board that I'm going to use to hang my Japanese saws from, and I've decided on an 1 5/8" spacing. I just kind of guessed at where the center point of the next saw would be to give me some room to get in there. And then my blade is raised to a height of about 2 inches at this point right here. So I'm going to cut one more and see how it looks. And then if this works out, I'll just continue over 1 5/8" and see how many I can get on this board, how many slots. And I think that'll be okay. And the saws are all the way back. They store inside the door. That gives me enough room to reach in there and grab one. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, let's see how it works. Now this is not its final resting place, but it does work. Let me see when I close the door. I don't hear anything. It looks like I'm past center. Yep. Okay. But the bad news is These need a wider kerf. I should have realized that before I cut them. So I'm going to take and cut these a little bit wider. The other good news is I can get one more saw in here if I had one. But I'll do these kerfs a little wider. 1/8 inch kerf is perfect for those. And if it's a little wider for all of them, it wouldn't really matter. But I like the fact that these two are, that's a nice tight fit. So I'll widen these out just a hair. That worked out really slick. I'm really happy with that. Nice way to store your saws, and easy to get them in and out. And because they're at that angle, they won't be falling out straight out, you know, type thing. And I'm well behind the face of the door here. I shouldn't say well behind, but I'm behind it. Even with this the widest blade here. And I've got room for 2 more. Perfect. Buy something else. Anyway, nice, I like it.